Welcome everybody to the Discover Possibility series, where I like to provide you guys perspective to show you what is possible. Now, my special guest today is someone I actually met during a live session. He was talking about energy work, and it actually really intrigued me, so much so that I wanted to bring him on the channel. Now, I would like to introduce everybody to Tony Wolfe Sibbald. And my first question for you, Tony, is who is Tony Wolfe Sibbald?
Well, thanks, Marcus. Thanks for having me on. A lot of fun. I always enjoy doing things like this. And I'm just an energy guy. My story starts about 27 years ago. My wife and I, we lost our first daughter. And I was in the marketing world, the business world, working a lot of hours. And it just left me, I had all this anger and sadness just really pent up inside of me. And I know, when it happened, my wife and I, we both coped with it in different ways. And I just kind of went back to work right away. I was running a marketing company. And the funny thing is I had so much pent up energy. It was anger. I didn't know it though, that our office actually went on to win the top office in Canada that year. And I got a big promotion and I was promoted to run this division. And all that it meant was that I had to work more and drive more and longer hours. And, I love what I did, but I just burnt out. So I had all this trap stuff inside that I didn't know. And I was just working, 7 days a week. And I probably could have handled it differently. I just didn't know any better. And so I burnt out. And so I was basically for 3 years, I was on not antidepressants, but antibiotics for month after month after month. And my doctor kept saying, you can't do this. Like, you're going to have to change something in your life. But I didn't listen to him because I thought I was, basically indestructible. And but he was right. So I got very sick. I fell into a deep, deep depression, so much so that I had to leave the company. And I lay on my couch probably for a week without moving. And I finally made myself go down to the local coffee shop. And there I met this woman, a friend, and she looked at me. She goes, "Man, you look terrible." I go, "Thank you." And she hands me this flyer that she just made, and on it was the words Reiki. And honestly, I normally probably would have laughed, like energy or voodoo, right? Yeah. But I was so far spent. I thought I'll try anything. So the next day, I went and I got a session. And I remember I felt something kind of move in my body, and it was so weird. And I thought, what is that? She goes, that's energy. And I left the house, and everything seemed like in slow motion. And I could see the leaves in the trees very vividly. And I realized that there was something to this, and that's sort of my first realization that there was more to the world than the mainstream media and the magazines and the TVs was telling us. So I went to her Reiki master who lived out in the country, probably for 6 months. I went there every Sunday, Marcus. And I just lay on the table and let her work on me. And when I turned the corner to go to that country road, I could actually feel her energy. It was amazing. Like I could just feel it drawing me. And then afterwards, she gave me chocolate chip cookies. So that helped too. And yeah, so that's kind of my introduction to energy. And so I received treatments, and then I decided I wanted to try it. And so I got my level 1 Reiki, which is, again, just connecting with the universe, using the universal energy, and my level 2 energy, Reiki. And I was working on myself and my wife, and I was healthy enough that I went back into the world of business. And so I was working again. And then I started seeing clients for Reiki on the side. So I had my portable table, and they would call me up during the day at my marketing company, and I would set an appointment for that night. And this was probably like 16, 17 years ago. And so I would go and hook up my table, get out my candle, and it was just so much fun. I had this little tiny 1-page website back then. And that's kind of how it all started for me. And just briefly, I explored a lot of different things. And finally, at the age of 50, my wife said, Tony, because I was in the financial services, she goes, you haven't slept for like a decade. Man, you should be doing this energy stuff. And she took me to see a shaman. And like we sat in a teepee and they're like banging on the drum to see my animal spirit. It was so cool. And at the end, he goes, you should be doing healing. I was like, oh my God, the universe is just too many times. So things happened at work and it was the perfect time for a change. So I left the financial industry and I decided to enroll into acupuncture school full time.
Wow.
Started something from Alexa. Alexa, turn off. Oh, we should keep that live. That's never happened before. That's awesome.
Hey, yeah, sometimes the best things happen when they're going live, right?
Yeah, so anyway, I went to acupuncture school, and the coolest thing was that I was referred to a medical Qigong master. And if you've heard of Tai Chi before, Tai Chi is the slow movements. So Qigong is actually the parent of Tai Chi. And medical Qigong is using Qigong, which is energy work on others. So I got to study with him for a number of years, one-on-one, one in a small group. And he just passed away earlier this year. But he taught me so much. And so in my practice now, I'm a registered acupuncturist, but I do so much energy work. So whenever anybody comes in, I'm always doing energy work first. To scan their body, to see what's going on, to really connect with them. And then I can use other modalities if I need it. But that's who I am. I run an energy clinic now. I'm blessed. My wife is she does osteopathy here. And I love coming to work. And I love meeting new people and cool people like you. So all I can say is I am blessed and I'm truly living the life right now.
That sounds like it's an amazing story that you've had. Just from where you've coming from the financial industry, coming into and finding your way. It's easy to see now that after you explained your whole story, because I only knew part of your story. So to kind of see it all unfold is quite intriguing. Yeah, no, you're talking about the different energy levels or the different energy that you teach, right? You have the Reiki, and then there's the Jin. Is that what you said it was?
Qigong.
Qigong.
Yeah.
Qigong, and then there's acupuncture. So is there what I guess is the difference between the three?
All right, that's a great question. So Reiki is kind of known as a very intelligent energy, and it's just all we're doing is we're channeling the energy of the universe or spirit or God or however you want to look at it, and then into the other person. The way that I look at it is that the body is a self-healing machine. So all I'm really trying to do, and we have this, I'll just call it the switch inside of us, that if we activate it, it allows the body to heal again. The thing is, we all become so disconnected, disconnected by stress and all those different things. And maybe we can chat more about that later. But so Reiki is connecting and just channeling, serving as a conduit for the energy, allowing that energy intuitively just to go in the body wherever it needs. And I'll tell everybody, at the least case, it puts your body into a really deep state of relaxation. So very often people are like just passed out on my table, just snoring away, and the energy is doing whatever it needs to do, and we can never tell what it's going to need to do until the energy gets here. And sometimes people come into the clinic very specifically, they think they're coming in for one reason, and they leave finding out that they were actually drawn here for another reason. So that's Reiki, and I teach levels Reiki 1, level 2, and Reiki Master. Qigong, or medical Qigong, the way that I see it, it's steeped in the tradition of traditional Chinese medicine. So it's ancient. It's thousands of years old, and it was started, by the ancient Taoist masters, the ancient Taoist priests from China, who explored all that sort of thing. And the difference that I'll say is that Qigong, medical Qigong, I'm targeting very specific things. So I might target the liver organ. So in traditional Chinese medicine, the liver is associated with anger. So if someone, if you see someone with a red face and they're just blurting out stuff, that might mean that the energy in their liver is what they call stagnated, liver chi stagnation. And so what I have to do is release it, allow it to move again. And in traditional Chinese medicine, like there's meridians that run through your body, or rivers of energy. And so sometimes they also get clogged by emotions, by stress, by sadness, by fear. And so when I'm using medical Qigong, I'm targeting specific things. I'm clearing, I'm dredging meridians, like the lung meridian. I'm getting rid of sadness specifically. And I'm also using acupressure points, right, to stimulate the points. And then acupuncture is inserting the physical needles into those same meridians and rivers. And I've really come to believe that I could do acupuncture. I could stimulate this acupuncture point with qi just by focusing the qi on this one point here, or I could put the needle in and allow the needle to stay there. So if I do acupuncture on someone, usually what I'll do is I'll put some needles into some areas that I think are very important, some points, and then I'll do Qigong and Reiki for the rest of the hour to support it. So I usually always do Reiki and medical Qigong and acupressure in every session, and then I can add some acupuncture or some cupping.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah, I've always been intrigued about doing acupuncture myself. So to kind of know everything and you explaining that really gives me insight into something I've always been curious about. Now, as far as people connecting, do you have like any connecting to their energy? Is there anything you can provide for people that, they may not currently have the time to perhaps go to your clinic right now, but they are interested in connecting to kind of see what it's about? Is there any kind of tips you can give people as far as like how to connect, like today, if they wanted to connect today to the energy?
Yeah, it's really interesting. And there's practitioners all over the world. So there's probably someone that does energy or acupuncture or anything near them. But to me, energy is everything. So if someone's doing yoga, right? Yoga is energy. Like you're in some of those poses and you can just feel the energy like just run through you. Music is energy. So I think the problem in general, people come into my clinic these days, especially with COVID, is everybody's drained. They're drained. They're, from the fear, from the anxiety. A lot of people are depressed. And in Chinese medicine, one of the definitions of depression is that they call it qi stagnation. The energy is just stuck and it's not moving. So we need to get the energy moving. And it could be some very simple things. I'm a big believer in walking. So exercise, and I know you exercise and you look really healthy, and I'm always seeing you're posting, I think you're running and different things.
Yeah.
That's amazing, right? Not everybody can do that. You have to just find something that you love to do to move your body. It could be swimming, it could be walking, it could be dancing. When you sing, you move your energy. When you breathe deeply. So I've been studying very intensely with a Taoist priest, and he's really gotten me into meditation and breathing. And I used to try to meditate for years, but I could never do it because I used to think the meditation was all about totally quieting the mind and never hearing anything and like being in the Zen-like state.
Yeah.
But what I found is it's distracting the mind, because the mind is the enemy. It's the monkey mind. It's the discursive mind, and it's lying to us. You can't do this. You're not strong enough. You're a loser, right? So we have to quiet it. And so the one breathing exercise I would ask everybody to try this. It's a Taoist practice, and what it is simply you breathe in nice and slowly and as long as you can. Okay, I usually do it for about the count of 7, but you do it depending on if someone smokes or they may not be able to breathe in as much. So do it as much as you can, and then hold your breath for 3. Then breathe out for that exact same count, 5 or 6 or 7 or 9, and then hold your breath for 3. The secret is in the counting, because when you count 1, 2, 3, you're distracting your mind, right? It's an amazing thing. All that's going on is the breathing and the counting, and so the focus is totally on the breath, and everything else is eliminated. And if a thought does come in, that's cool. Just thank it for coming and release it, and then focus again on the counting. I've been doing this, solidly, intensely for a year, and I'm doing something called alchemy with my Taoist mentor, and it's been amazing, the changes. So I totally believe that anybody at home, get outside, just do something to move, because if we're hunched over the computer, all our energy gets stuck here, and you get tightness, and you can't breathe. So open up, breathe, move, sing, dance, do that breathing meditation that I just told you about. And I think that you'll find that you're able to change your state, right? And watch what you're eating. I watch what you're eating, because if we just fill our body with poison, what can we expect? Right? So give yourself so there's some thoughts on that.
That's fantastic. I think those are some great points you have there. I know breathing for myself, I do box breathing myself, and I notice it helps tremendously. And I totally agree with your input as far as what you're taking into your body. It makes a huge difference on that as well. Now I noticed I've gone over some of your videos. I know you had one particular video as far as connecting with nature. How important do you feel it is to connect with nature and finding energy? Do you find energy through nature? Do you find that to be helpful and something someone should do?
That's a big one. I'm a big believer in nature. I've always been connected with nature. I don't know if you go out and, some people might be in areas where it's not easily accessible. But even if there's like just a tree around you, like just go and hug the tree. People might look at you a little bit weird, but that's okay. Just go and hug it and allow yourself to just let go. So when I'm out in the forest, you've got all the trees and the grass and you've got animals. It's amazing the buzz that you can feel, and there's a quiet. So the key is turn off your phone and just go, and even just stand there. See, we get caught, we're always moving. We're always thinking, there's all this, Facebook and everything always coming at us. And sometimes we just need to, and the energy from earth and nature is so rejuvenating. The earth is very grounding. So go out in your bare feet. Although here in Canada, it's now, it's December and there's snow on the ground. So you might want to, unless you're like in the Polar Bear Club, right?
Yeah.
But just connecting with that and breathing in, because the chi of nature, just breathe it in. Let it fill your lungs and go through your body. There's a saying that where the breath goes, the chi will flow. So if you're just taking these shallow little breaths, like we do when we're anxious, you're never giving your body enough oxygen. So go out, open up, relax, and just let yourself go. Yeah, it's amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I found nature to be very, very grounding myself, and something I always find when I'm stressed and everything else, that I've always gone out to nature, whether that's a trail walk or something, just to get out. And I feel at peace once again, with all the stress of the world that's going on today.
Yeah, I've never met you personally, but you have this vibe about you. I mean, one of the reasons I was really interested in being on the show with you is you just have this energy. You just have this vibe about you, which is amazing. And I can tell you've done a lot of self-work and breathing. And you can just tell that from someone. There's some people where someone walks in a room and there's just something about them. You can just feel the energy on them. And that's what I'm saying to everybody. Like, if you go out and do these things that you're talking about, and the breathing and getting out, you really will change. I have seen so many people transform when they come into my energy clinic. They just transform. I just put out a free course. Actually, it's an 8-week course on just sort of finding peace of mind. And all it is, it's like a 10-minute video each week with a couple of homework questions. And so for 8 weeks, I'm just going to walk you through some things. It's gotten really good feedback. It's just things that I've learned that I wanted to give to people right now for free, because as you said, there's just so much stress in the world, and there doesn't have to be. it's not what's happening to us. It's how we're allowing ourselves to react, and what we're allowing ourselves to think, especially what we're allowing ourselves to focus on. So if you can change your mind, change what you're thinking, and change your focus, then you can change your body and you can change how you feel.
Yeah, I 110% agree with that. I definitely, again, found, like you said, it in my own experience, my own journey, I found that to be true, and that's awesome that you're providing that free information out there for a free course for everybody. So that'll be something I'll actually leave down in the description for everybody as well. To follow up, I got some closing questions for you here, Tony. This is just kind of like some general questions about your experience, your life, and what you can share with everybody. So the first question I actually have for you is, what is the biggest thing that you think holds people back from change?
Without a doubt, I think it's fear. Fear and fear of the unknown, right? When you're changing, you're going to change into something from something. I'll just give you a quick example. I was working with a client years ago who said that they felt this dark heaviness, within them, around them, that it had been there all their life. And I think it had happened with some childhood experience. And I asked them, I said, are you ready to let it go? And they said, I don't know. And I said, well, what's holding you back? And she said, well, if I didn't have that terrible feeling, I don't know what life would be like, because I know it's always there. I said, so if you were to let it go and let this terrible feeling, what's the worst that could happen? You might not feel as terrible. And she goes, yeah, I guess you're right. So we did an exercise and she released it. But it's always, I think, fear of the unknown. And sometimes you just got to, what I did, I just left my job and I just said, I announced to the universe, I'm going to be doing this, full time. And all of a sudden things started happening for me. So I think you got to trust your intuition and not let fear hold you back.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love the example you had with your client. And I mean, that's phenomenal. I totally agree with that. I think the uncertainty really holds a lot of people back. And even for myself, I've had a lot of growth in that field myself. So it's just getting over that hurdle and being okay with uncertainty and realizing it's always going to be there no matter what, right?
Yeah, one of the Taoist principles is that change is always happening. The world is always changing. There's nothing you can do about it. So just, the key is to be adaptable. Just be flexible. And whatever happens, just go with it. That's all you can do, right? And then you'll find, your stress level, it just goes down. It's amazing.
Yeah, 110% agree with that. For my next question I have for you is, what is the worst advice that you've ever received? Especially given the fact that you've come in from corporate America and now from what you do now. So,
well, the worst advice I ever received, and I got to blame myself for this, for listening and not listening to other sources too, right? But it was in a business environment. It was all commission based. It was very much, basically you got to be in your office, running it. If you're not there, then your reps won't be working. And so, we'd lost our first daughter. I couldn't think of a worst possible thing to have happened to me at the time. That's why I was so bitter and angry. And I've since learned that, so many people go through tragedies, and she's up there now looking after, we have two healthy daughters. So she's up there looking after them now. It's great. And if it hadn't happened, none of these changes in my life would have happened. But so the worst advice was to just not be with your family, right? Not take care of yourself. Just work and make money. And there's got to be a balance. Okay. On one hand, some people say money's evil. I don't agree with that at all. I think money's good. The more money you have, you can do better things. It's what you do with it. But if you don't have money, then that places you in a stressful place. So make some money, but really enjoy life. One of my clients, they said to me, they were older when I was a financial advisor, and they had become very sick. And they said, Tony, don't be like me. I've saved up all my money all my life, and now there's nothing I can do with it. So that's a good lesson too.
That's a phenomenal lesson. Very great. The last question I do have from you, it was, what is the one thing you want people to take away from this interview?
The one thing I would like you to take away is, there's hope. See, I didn't get much into it, but I was so depressed, so down. I was so broken. I had heart problems. I was on heart meds. I used to be black belt in karate. I had to stop everything, and all my muscles just atrophied for years. And it was a long road back. But I'll just tell this one quick story is that we used to mountain bike. My wife and I used to mountain bike a lot. We used to do triathlons going up. There's a place here in Ontario, Blue Mountain, and we did it. And I remember lying in my bed. I was so depressed. I was so down. I couldn't do anything. And I had two beautiful kids, and I didn't even play with them. And I remember the one day I had this one thought. It was, what if I could ride my mountain bike just one more time? And what that did was it allowed this little sliver of hope to come into my life. And that was all it took, Marcus. That was the change. That one thought changed my life. So what I want to tell everybody is that it doesn't matter how far down you feel, if you feel down. It doesn't matter if you think you're at the darkest point of your life. All it takes is one thought of hope, and the rest can bloom. So I'm a living example of that. I turned 55 this summer. I'm back doing martial arts. I ride my bike. I feel healthier than I felt for decades. And if I can do it, and I'm just some dude in Canada, man, if I can do it, then anybody can do it.
Well, that is fantastic, Tony. I really appreciate you coming on here. I really appreciate you sharing your story, giving some people, I think, some great advice, some great insight into finding their energy, right? Finding their flow. And I mean, it's just fantastic. Everything you shared with us today, I think, was absolutely fantastic. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. You've actually taught me a lot about Reiki and acupuncture. And I'm actually going to try to do more of that stuff and get into that stuff and channel more. Although I've felt the energy, it's just getting more knowledge about it, I think, from my standpoint. So again, Tony, I do appreciate it very much. And I will actually leave Tony's information in the description down below. And again, Tony, I appreciate your time and thank you for coming on the channel.
I just want to send out an invite real quick. This is all I do full time now. So if anybody wants to email me with questions or whatever, please feel free. All right, it's all good. And thank you, sir, for having me on. You're awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, man. It's inspiring and motivating and educational to a lot of people. And I love seeing you shine.
Well, thank you so much, Tony. And everybody out there, thank you guys for joining us. And until next time, we will see you guys later.